What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are covering the topic of setting your pet sitting and dog walking rates. If you're new to my channel, I'm Shelly Beyer, the creator of Pet Brainy. Every Tuesday, I put new videos out with my best strategies and tips to help you grow your pet business. Setting your business rates is a very personal decision, and it will vary depending on your business needs. But there are some guidelines that you can follow, and that's what we're going to cover today. When setting your pet sitting business prices, it's important to have purpose behind the numbers that you choose. A lot of people go and look at the competitors and see what they're charging, and then they charge something similar to what their competitors are doing. But that's not always the best answer. You're going to want to think about a few different questions before actually setting your rates. So let's go ahead and dive into these questions, and this will help open your mind to the possibilities of what's going to be best for your pet sitting business. The first question you want to ask yourself is, what services are you providing? Take inventory of all the different services you want to provide and then the complexity of each service. A dog walk may be a little different than taking care of horses and cleaning stalls. So you can see how different services could have different pricing. So you're going to want to take a good inventory of everything that you want to provide. Now, I would recommend definitely keeping the services to a minimum and keeping your pricing very simple. So keep that in mind when looking at all of the different services that you want to provide. The next factor to consider is your location. Do you live in the city or out in the country? Country rates are going to be very different from city rates because you do a lot more driving. So you got to consider that when setting your rates. The third thing you want to look at is, what is your competition charging? Now, I'm not saying that you want to base your prices off of what the competition is charging, but it is a good idea to know what they're charging. Now, there is a rate calculator that you can use from Time to Pet that allows you to look at your specific area and what the average pricing is for that area. This calculator is great because it gives you a starting point. You don't want to be just pulling numbers out of a hat and doing what feels good. You want to have some kind of basis of where you're getting your pricing. Now, different areas, if you go and look on the internet and you look up a pet sitting company in New Jersey and you live in Oregon, that's not going to do you much good. You've got to look in your specific area. The next thing you want to take a look at is your business expenses. Calculate all of your business expenses and then divide it by the number of services that you think you're going to do. But not only do you need to look at the business expenses, you also need to consider the labor. So if you're going to have employees, you need to factor that in also. Once you've answered all of those questions, then you're ready to start putting your pricing together. Make sure and factor in your expenses, your labor, and then don't forget travel time. These are all important factors to consider when setting your pricing. Then you're going to take a look at your competitor and see if your baseline is in line with what your competitors are doing. But remember, your competition is not what you should base your pricing on because you have no idea where they even came up with that pricing. So you're going to want to go more off of what your numbers are telling you, but still not be completely out of the ballpark. If your baseline is lower, then you know that you can bump it up. You don't want to be under your competition. In fact, I would say that you should be over your competition. Don't price underneath or in the middle of the pack because the middle is not a good place to be. You either want to be high or you want to be low, but you don't want to be in the middle. The next thing you want to ask yourself is, do you want to charge by the time or do you want to charge by the task or a combination of the two? Now, from my experience, keeping your pricing very simple is super important. If a client is on your website looking at your pricing and they're confused by it, or if they're looking at your pricing and then they see all these add-ons for the different tasks that they need to be done, then there's a good chance that they're going to leave your website because they're confused or they feel like they're going to be nickel and dimed. So it's best to keep your pricing simple. Now, if you're going to do time-based pricing with some add-ons for tasks, I would keep it very limited. An example of a good add-on would be, say you're doing horse care and you're having to clean stalls. So you may want to charge an additional fee for each stall that you clean. That would be a good add-on. But add-ons like an add-on for cleaning the kitty box and an add-on for watering the plants and all of that kind of stuff, it gets to be a little much and it starts to confuse the client. From my experience, time-based pricing works very well. It works great for the client because they know exactly how much they're going to be charged. They don't get concerned about having little add-ons for this and add-ons for that. They know exactly what they're going to be charged. It's also easier for you when you're calculating their invoice. When you go to a client's house and you have a 30-minute visit, you know that whatever you do in that 30-minute visit, it's still going to be the exact same amount. It makes it super simple for you and it makes it simple for them. Another thing you may want to consider offering when setting up your pricing is packages. Packages are great for you and the client. They're great for you because now you're no longer selling one visit, you're selling 20 visits. It's nice for the client because now they're only getting one invoice versus 20 invoices. It just makes everything so much easier for both of you. But another great benefit of having packages is that now the client is no longer comparing your prices to your competitors' prices. When they go to your website and they see that you have packages, now they're comparing your packages instead of your pricing to your competitors. So this is a great added benefit. Now, to set up your packages, what you want to do is decide first how long you want your visits to be. So an example would be you offer 20, 30, 45, and 60-minute increments. Then you want to show your pricing for one visit versus 10 and then 20 visits. And when you do your pricing, you want to make sure that you show that it's a much better deal if they buy 20 visits versus one visit. And then you want to do this for each length of visit, but you want to give them a variety of different price points without having too big of jumps in your pricing. You don't want to raise any red flags because that could scare them away. So just make sure that you have incremental increases. So when setting your pricing, make sure you know your numbers. Calculate your expenses, your labor, and your travel time, and make sure and factor that in. Keep your pricing simple. Like I said before, a confused mind says no, so you want to make sure you keep it very, very simple. Don't have too many options because that just confuses them even more. Know what your competition is doing, but don't base your pricing solely on them. Use that time to pet calculator that I shared with you earlier in the video. That could be very, very helpful. The main thing is that you're covering your expenses, but you're also making profit. So do what's right for your business. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every week when I put new videos out. If you think your friends would enjoy these videos, share it with your friends. I'd love to see them. As always, I appreciate you being here. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.